In a world where we have everything and it's still not enough, we're often left wondering, is this really it?
Deep inside, you know there's more to life. You're ready to leave behind the old push your way through and claim the deeper, more meaningful life that's calling you.
That's what we invite you to explore with us.
We're your hosts,
Stephanie Allen
and Maren. And this is the Soulful Leader Podcast.
Yay! So, I'm curious. I've been watching the Olympics over the last little while, and I'm really curious. Have you ever played at something that you wanted to win at all costs? Like you would do anything to win. Or you're in business and you do anything to outbeat the competition. And I'm just curious because there's been times in my life when I've competed and I just wish my competition would go away so that I could win. I can relate to that. However, when I really sit with it, would you rather win against, or at least, place in the top 3 with absolute excellence? Or would you rather win and stand at the top of the podium with a bunch of people who, they're not so great?
Because you took out all the best people.
Yeah.
Or somebody did.
Somebody did. Or, I guess this is kind of what I'm talking about is Maren and I really look at mindsets. If you're a growth mindset or a fixed mindset, meaning, do you want to evolve and grow and be better? Not from striving and pushing, but that's actually your birthright, is to strengthen your gifts and strengthen your strengths. Or would you rather be a fixed, it's like, why bother? It's not going to work anyway, and this is good enough. But more from a place of a why bother place, not from a place of self-love and acceptance of like, hey, I'm good, I'm great. Not from that place.
So I want to go a little further down the fixed and growth mindset rabbit hole, because you and I have done a lot of work with this, and I don't know if our listeners have. So there's a woman named Carol Dweck who has a wonderful book about mindset out there, and she talks about fixed and growth mindsets. And she did a study. Actually, she's done lots of them at this point. And I believe the initial one that I had heard of anyway was with children. And she tested children. She took two different groups of children and basically said to them, all right, here's the deal. Group A, they were judged, they were graded based on just the outcome, whether they got correct answers or not correct answers. Period, end of story. And the second group of people was actually graded on their process. How did you get to that answer? And the first level, they did stuff that was really easy, right? Everybody got 100% on everything. And then they went to the second level, a little bit harder questions, and the next level. And what they found was people who have fixed mindsets are ones that are usually trained in that the answer is all that matters. How you got to it doesn't matter. The answer is all that matters. And what they found with these children is that the ones who were graded just on the answer, they started to get more and more fearful the harder the questions got.
So more anxiety would come up.
More anxiety. They didn't want to try. They were shading off of each other's papers, like all of the stuff that we tend to feel inside of ourselves. I mean, the ones who were graded based on their process got more curious and more excited as the problems got harder.
I think this is so powerful because not only as children, it was like, evolution of growth, but I think of like relationships. It's like, there's that belief like, oh, well, if it's a great relationship, it's easy. It's like, I'm sorry. I mean, I've worked with thousands of people and who have good relationships. And I'd say, well, how did you get there? Because it's about their process. And it's like what they learn It's not about whether or not the outer outcome is good or bad or right or wrong. It's like, man, we both had to work at it, and they have a sense of humor, and they're curious, and I don't know. I just like, what are we doing in society that we are cultivating this outer fixed mindset? And how do we change it?
As long as you win, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And it's like we see it. I see both of those happening in the Olympics right now. And then I also see it in business, where just recently you had an experience where somebody said to you, tell us about that.
It's, for me, the most important thing is that I have a good culture. Meaning, if I have people on my team that are heartful and are willing to learn and grow, have a growth mindset, they can make mistakes. They can do all there's space for that.
And that's how you foster a growth mindset, is you make space for it.
Yeah. You got to make space for it. It's like, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. It's like, as long as you are in integrity and you're not stealing from you. But again, that's culture, right? If you have a good culture, you've got someone who has the same values as you, who are aligned with your mission and your vision, and who are actually invested in helping you get there. Like, they're on board with you. They're not just not just employees, they're teammates.
They want to see you succeed.
Yeah, we want to see each other succeed, right? So there's this wonderful team. So to me, that is the most important thing, because I believe you can always learn skill. But you can't always learn a good ethics or a good. You can't create a good person. That has to come from them, right? So recently, I had somebody that had made some mistakes and did some things, and I was sharing with another group of friends of mine who are business owners, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just let them go. Let them go." I'm like, oh my God, it hurt my heart so much. I'm like, you're not hearing me. Like, I'm not complaining about this person. I'm actually taking personal accountability, because I think I have maybe given them the wrong things, that the things that are not really truly theirs to do. Like, I think maybe I was supposed to be doing that. It's mine to do, and I schlepped my responsibility. Or I'm also looking at it's like, but they've got all these talents over here. How can I create an environment for those talents to flourish? Because that would help both of us. So I took the responsibility and the accountability, rather than just saying, oh, well, just let them go. It's, it's nothing personal. It's business. I'm like, ouch. And I think there's too much of that in this world.
And that goes back to when you look at it, like you said, it's not just kids. We are developing a fixed mindset culture in our businesses, in our sports, in our adults,
in our relationships.
We keep fostering it. And a leader who is, just dismiss them, just let them go, instead of looking at their own accountability. And maybe I gave them the wrong assignment. Maybe we're, okay, so what's the process, and how do we need to adjust the process? Asking other questions instead of just dismiss them. We live in such a disposable society right now. People, things, stuff we buy, it's cheaply made, just let it go, right? It's just, everything is disposable. And it does hurt my heart. And I think it hurts most people's hearts, and they just are so numb, they can't feel it.
Well, when you keep throwing something out, if you're a human being and you're watching somebody else just toss out relationships and items and stuff, ideas, you kind of ask yourself, okay, when am I going to be tossed out? Because it creates an environment that doesn't feel safe.
It's true.
So then you create an adapted type of personality, so that you can feel at least, temporarily feel like you're safe and protected. And I just think, what a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste.
And I think it does go back to what you were saying at the beginning of, do we feel better about ourselves because I tossed out the trash, quote unquote trash, meaning that other person who wasn't doing something so well. And
Yeah.
do I want to live in that society where I look at other people as disposable, as like, to me, that's that lower mindset, the fixed mindset that says, well, you know what, so I'll just find the answer elsewhere, instead of, hey, let's look at the process. And the process involves people. It involves being a true human being that values all other human beings and all other sentient life, really.
Yeah. So I'm curious, with those who are listening, what is it that you value? What is important? Is it the outer results, or is it the process? And like, when someone says the process, I know when someone said that to me, I'm like, what do you mean the process? Like, I don't know. Like I snowboard. And so I was going up on the chairlift with somebody, and they were talking about which, where to put your weight. I'm like, and they asked me, well, where do you put your weight? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't think about it. I have a natural athletic ability. I always have, that I don't think about it. It just happens for me. But I gotta be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah. And I serve and I do gymnastics, did different things like that. But it's like, what happens though is that I don't develop a process. So for me to be able to help or serve another person, I can't, because I'm in it. I don't know. And so why that's important is that I do want to make a difference in the world of lives. And so to be able to actually break it down without being in my head and thinking about it, because I think what happens, I think, and I stink, is that we stink and thinking. Then we get anxiety rather than just dropping into the heart and letting it just flow. But there's another level to up level it, is to then now break it down and go, well, what is the process? Because if you don't know your process, you can't tweak it. You can't evolve it. You can't refine it. And when you look at excellence, no matter what it is, whether it's business or relationship or athletics or whatever it is that you're passionate, if you don't know your process and you can't fine tune it, you can't up level it. You get stuck.
You get stuck.
You get stuck. And we've got to take away the shame of looking at the process. Like I seriously, when that person said on the chairlift, like, I'm like, I have no idea. First I laughed, and then I also felt a little shame. I'm like, my God, I got a phys ed degree and I don't even know what my process is. I haven't got a clue. Like one of the young people said to me, he goes, oh, you do tricks on the snowboard. I said, no, my trick is to stay upright. That's my trick. Are you kidding me? I'm too old to fall. I don't want to fall anymore. But that's the fixed mindset so when you don't know your process, it leads you right down the path of a fixed mindset, which is going to get.
What's interesting is, like you said, I don't want to fall. So when you're moving away from something,
yes,
and you don't know your process to not fall, yes, you get all tight and tense and anxious. And then if a fall does happen, that's when you get injured. Because, one of the examples that I used to use when I was teaching dance, a lot of dancers, especially new dancers, get very tense and rigid and they look like Frankenstein on the dance floor because they're like, dancing is something I have to do. I'm like, no, it's just walking to rhythm, right? So anyway, one of the things I tell them is, like, when you're dancing with a partner, you can get hurt. You can get your shoulder pulled, or you can, and I said, the best way to not get hurt is to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing that the kind of yucky study that they did was that drunk drivers are usually the ones who are not injured.
Yeah.
Because they don't tense up in a crash, right? They don't know any better. So that's going to your process thing of, like, you're going down the hill thinking, I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall. You're going to get more and more tense. You will fall, and then you'll get hurt.
Exactly.
Versus
exactly.
Knowing your process. Okay, well, if I don't want to fall, that actually means here's the toward. I want to stay upright. What's my process for staying upright?
Yeah. And as you start, I love how we're talking about this, because all of a sudden my process is starting to come to realization. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. Because when I'm thinking too much, I get tense. and I can feel myself not working with my momentum, I work against it.
Yes.
And so
Exactly.
when I drop my arms and I relax my shoulders and I breathe deeply, there's part of my process, and I go, "Oh, I love this." I put a smile on
Mhm.
my face. My neck doesn't hurt. My body's relaxed. My knees are slightly bent, so they are more resilient. We talk about resiliency. Now you're more resilient. And
Yeah.
this is translatable and transferable into anything, because the
Absolutely.
minute I get tight, maybe in business or in a relationship, is when I don't have full capacity. I don't have the full listening or seeing of the whole picture. I'm just dropped in trying to stay alive or stay,
Right.
you know,
Which narrows everything. And if you go back
everything.
to the kids with the test, they were the I don't want to fail, 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 because they needed to get this, right? This high mark. That's what they were being judged on. Whereas the kids who are being judged on process, they're like, "Oh, I want to explain, I want to explore my process. I want to get curious." So all of their capacity was engaged. Whereas the other kids, kind of like you were talking about, everything gets narrowed down. And now
Mhm.
they have very little capacity to actually answer the questions. And that is what we do to ourselves in business, in life.
And it robs the joy of everything. It's like there's no space for joy. And it becomes a perfectionist society. So there's,
Yes.
and I'm going to say this too, because we talked about space in one of our other podcasts of, if there's no space, there's no joy. There's no up leveling. There's no curiosity. There's no wonder. So how do we make space? Relax, let it go. Like it's a both and. It's a big circle, right? It's like
Yeah.
when you relax, you make space. When you make space,
And
you can relax.
curiosity makes space.
Absolutely. And
Going to
playfulness.
your business example, instead of, oh, let them go, right?
Yeah.
Now there's no space and it's gone. We're done. I'm gone, right? If you instead get curious and be like, oh, okay, well, that's the second time this mistake has happened. What's going on? Is it that there's something going on in that person's life, or I have them in the wrong position, or I gave them that direct? Like now we can get
Yeah. What's
curious
my process too? Like
and develop. Yeah.
what did I forget out? Maybe I didn't communally put all the steps down, or I didn't break it down, or it's not about right or wrong or good or bad, or like I really want to let go of this I love elegance and perfection, but to only focus on perfectionism and it's a do or die something, that's not fun. That's not joyful.
Mhm.
Like, again, coming back to watching the Olympics, like watching the excellence of some of these athletes. So you're just like, oh my God.
Amazing.
Like it's their life work.
Yeah.
It is their life's work for like maybe 10, 20 seconds, some of them. And I don't want to see them get hurt. But at the
Mm-mm.
same time, they put it all on the line. They do it. They're humans. It's somebody's child. It's somebody's partner. It's somebody's parent. It's like, it could be us. Would you want somebody, putting bad juju out there on you? It's like, where's the kindness in ourselves and for each other, which also can lead to excellence?
Yeah. And one of the things that I was thinking about when we're talking about this is that I would rather lose at a high level, meaning
Mhm.
that someone pushed me because of their greatness, because they're like that top level and
Oh,
I
yeah.
am like, and I lost to that person, than have that person not be there and I'm mucking around with people who are like not quite as great and I'm the top dog. Woohoo, good for me.
Mhm.
Like, okay, one, it just wasn't, that high quality. I would rather lose at a higher quality
Oh gosh,
than win
yes.
at a lower quality. And
When
I
when
think
you
that is
look at environments. That's, we are who we hang out with, right? If, it's like, if you're with a bunch of people who don't necessarily measure up to what your values are or what you're going to sink down to their level. Absolutely. Versus you get to somebody else and you're like, wow, they've got really high standards, really beautiful, elegant articulation of life. They're going to call you up. So it's not going to be easy. And that's what happens even in relationships too. It's like, I remember having even a boss who, she was incredible. She wasn't judgmental. She wasn't harsh, but she held herself at such a high level and with kindness. So she had space within herself to make mistakes and to let others. But it's like, I wanted to do better for her. And she allowed me that space to grow. She pulled me up by her modeling that behavior.
So not everybody has that amazing, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't. And if you're in a situation where you don't have that, where you're actually stuck in the muck and the mire, and it's so easy to just say, oh, God, it feels like a slog uphill both ways, just to have some sort of integrity, to have some sort of like uplift. Do you have any recommendations for that situation?
I think, find those models, find them, like search for them, whether they're from the past, meaning, they're exemplars from the past, or looking at where they are right now in this future, like seek for them. And there's that saying is like, what you're seeking is also seeking you. So when you're longing for something or something better or something more beautiful, looking for that higher excellence, know that it's also looking for you too. So pay attention. Like the process of being open to it, keeping an open mind of like, is there something else? Ask the question. Let the question lead you. Is there a more beautiful way to do this?
Yeah.
Is there something that I'm being called beyond the results oriented, but is there something that I'm being called to grow or learn or develop, and then bring me the person or the system or the place where I can actually receive it, to see it.
So you might not it in your place, wherever in your sport, or you might be on a team where it's that team says, you know what, the way that we work is we take out the competition. Let's cut them off at the knees. Let's do this. And that's not who you want to be. And so you may be stuck in that position for now. And if you're looking around for the exemplars who have a higher level of integrity, who are like, no, I don't want to take out the competition at the knees. I want to beat them at a high level. Like, let's both get to the best we can be, and let's compete there, because then we're making each other better. So when you
up level that field when you do that too. Not only are you up leveling yourself, you're actually up leveling that field.
Yeah.
So
the entire game, the whole game gets up. Right?
Like I'm gonna say, like when I was a little girl, my exemplar was Nadia Comaneci. Like I was a gymnast. I was like, she called me to the possibility. I'm like, and perfect 10. Like, oh my god, like I want that. And it was searching me. Now that was 1976. I don't know if you're familiar with gymnastics, but you compare 1976 to 2026. We're not even on the same level, on the same planet of what the human body is capable of doing now. But Nadia Comaneci up-leveled it. And then everyone from there up-leveled. And if we do that across the board in our relationships, in our business, in our parenting, in ourselves, like finding those exemplars, it will guide you. And so, like I said, it doesn't even just up-level you. It up-levels the whole field.
It does.
And that's how we make a difference in this world. That's how we lead a soulful leadership.
And if you are in that situation where you're stuck in one of those places, finding exemplars outside of that, outside of your realm, your immediate realm, is very helpful. Another place to start is to start looking inside yourself for the places that are fixed. Because it's not an all or nothing. It's not like, well, this person is a fixed mindset person
Yeah.
and that person is a growth mindset person. In each and every one of us, there are places where we have growth mindsets and we're curious and we look for the process. And we have fixed mindsets where we go and we shy back and we go, uh-oh, I have to do this right. Yikes. Oh, what does that mean? And now we're all rigid and right. So start looking for those. And instead of shaming them and saying, oh, that's the wrong part of me, look at it and say, that's the opportunity part of me. Because as you change yourself and you look at those things, different opportunities in the outer world will appear. Absolutely 100%.
So as I'm hearing you say this, I think this is really fun to kind of play with, because what I'm hearing too is like, it isn't an all or nothing. It's not just you're either fixed or you're growth. And if you look at your life, there are certain areas of your life that you go, oh, I would love to be better in these areas. You know, maybe it's better at health. Maybe it's better at relationship. Maybe it's better at finances. Maybe it's better at, I don't know, your business, whatever it might be. And then there's other areas that you go, yeah, I don't care if I'm not a good cook. I just don't care. I know I should be better, but I don't care.
Right.
So what I'm suggesting is that look at where you care, like what matters to you. Mm-hmm. And those are streams. Think of like a stream all coming together into a river that moves to the ocean. Like these are all streams that feed you. And instead of just looking at one stream, look at all the ones that feed you. And what would be an exemplar or a role model in each one of those areas that would lead you up, leveled, and play with it. Yes. And allow yourself to be kind with yourself, because I always say be kind with the self that you're becoming, because you haven't become that person yet. Mm. You're in the making. So be gentle with yourself. That doesn't mean, oh, that's enough, honey, you should just sit down and not do anything. I'm not saying that. You say when you really make a big mistake, you go, wow, look at you go. Good job. That took a lot of courage. You okay? You're doing okay. Do you need a hug? All right, let's try it again. Why don't we do this differently? Like, be playful with it. Yeah. And find those areas, because what you're going to be doing when you do that is that you will be inspiring so many people around you, and you'll be up-leveling those fields indirectly and directly.
I love that. I love the doing it playfully. I think is the most important thing. Being kind and doing it playfully. So thanks for that.
Fun. And I'd love to hear from them. Like, what have they done?
I would love to. I would just think of that.
From you. Yeah. You know, what do you do? What do you do? What areas do you want to grow in? What areas do you want to level up? And what, like, I often say is like, you know, look out to the world. If you say, oh, we're really a hot mess in this area in the world, that might be an indication of where you might have a piece to up level yourself. It's really fun to play with that. I said that to a young person the other day. You know, like, if you look out to the world, you know, what if you were to allow yourself to be critical and judgmental, which this was a young person, they're like 14. They're really hot on the judgmental and the criticism then. And I said, you know, what's wrong with the world? And I said, that may be your unique fingerprint to be able to up level. So what would your solution be, and what kind of process and skill level would you develop to be able to do that? Maybe yours to do.
That's fun, especially for a young person, and even for an older person, like any age, to step into that and start playing with that. Powerful stuff.
Yeah. So I want to hear from you out there. Like,
please
what
do.
are you doing? Yeah. Like, what does the world need? Where does it need to be up leveled? And, you know, what is your process to help with that? What are you doing? I'd love to hear from you. Yeah. Tell us.
You can find us on LinkedIn and on the Facebook and on YouTube, all under Soulful Leaders, or you can just email us. We've got a couple different emails. I'll put them in the show notes. That's easier. It's something tslp.life, which is one of our websites, and the other one is at the soulfulleaderpodcast.com. But you can find us here every other week at the soulfulleaderpodcast.com, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us.
And that wraps up another episode of the Soulful Leader Podcast with your hosts, Stephanie Allen
and Maren Oslack. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to dive deeper, head over to our website at thesoulfulleaderpodcast.com.
Until next time.